Okay, Tracy. So I thought maybe you and I could take a little bit of time to sort of chat about our evolution with email marketing, kind of how we started out, where we came from, maybe share some little snippets, some pieces of wisdom that we've picked up along the way.
Okay.
I know for me, the biggest in the beginning is, oh my God, I was so scared to send that first email. I kind of At first, I felt like I had to wait till there was a substantial amount of people in there. And I can't quite remember, but because it's been so long, but I think it was like, okay, you got to have at least 200 people on your list before you start emailing, right? And thankfully, I talked to somebody who was like, no, you need to start mailing from day one. And it doesn't matter if it's just you on your list with, three different email addresses because you had to test out the process, which that's a good tip right there. After any time after you set up a new funnel, um, go through and test it and make sure everything the way you think it works. Because every time I'm gotten a little too confident and don't do that, something messes up and then I have to go back and fix it. But that was a really good piece of advice. And kind of one of the reasons it was so great was because I got all the mistakes I was making, or a lot of the mistakes I was making, out of the way with only three other people reading my emails. And, one of them was my daughter or my husband, that kind of thing. So it was just good practice. And then it was good to get into the habit. And, the first time you do something, everything hard and overwhelming. It's sort of like when you start a new job, the first 2 weeks, you're like, oh my God, I'm come home, eat something, and fall into bed. I'm so tired because everything takes so much mental bandwidth and so much of your energy. And it's like that with every new thing you do when you start or grow your online business. But as you do it more and as you get into the habit, it becomes easier. It becomes second nature. Do you have anything you want to share from the very, very early days, like before we knew each other, of your?
I think that, yeah, I think that's the kind of the same thing. You go through all right, I've got this thing. Nobody wants to hear what I have to say. That, like you said, there's nobody. There's me, my mom, and my fake dog email. Um, right? Why should I email? And then even as it started to grow, with whatever, um, it's like, well, they don't really want to hear about that. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, I wrote a new ebook, but they don't want to hear about that. They don't care that because back in the mom days, right? So, well, still a mom, but back in the moms on the blog day, I'm like, they don't want to care that I'm a crap homemaker and here's how I manage my. They don't care
Mhm.
about that, and so you psych yourself out of not. And then I think probably you or some of our other friends were like, no, you need to email regardless. And then, it's like, well, how often do I email? Is once a month okay? That kind of thing. And then finally proving the concept of, oh, email works.
Yeah. And I think another thing that a lot of us sort of, it takes a while to get over and get out in front of ourselves is we feel like we don't want to bother. People use this word and it's so completely incorrectly used, but like, I don't want to spam my list.
Right.
They signed up, they want to hear from you. And, I was like you, I was like, okay, every month, or, if I have something to say, there's a lot in the fiction author space too, where people feel like they should only email when they have a new book coming out and then email once. So there's some authors out there that have an email list that gets an email once every 6 months or
Oh,
once
wow.
every year when they publish a new
And,
book.
and I've forgotten about
And
you by
it's so
then.
sad. It's so sad because I don't know about you. I know you're a big reader like me. As a fiction reader and a fan of certain authors, I want to hear from them.
Yeah.
I want to know where they're at in the writing process. I don't mind hearing about, what are they doing, especially
Or
if it's something that
little
inspires
snippets.
them. Yes, yes, absolutely. And then I also enjoy, because a lot of them, you know, it's not always easy, even on Amazon, to find their entire backlist of books. So I enjoy kind of hearing about some books that either I haven't seen or maybe I overlooked them because the title or the cover didn't appeal to me, but then they share a little snippet of the story or tell me a little something about a character, and I'm like, oh, that actually sounds kind of good. And I found some of my favorite books that way.
Yeah.
And that's just an fiction space, but that translates over into any sort of online marketing space. If you've been at
Definitely.
this for a while, you probably have a ton of content out there. You know, that blog post that you wrote 3 years ago, or that mini course that you created 10 years ago that, you know, still has value. Or, you know, you don't even have to go that far back. You know, there's people on your list that don't know about that new course you launched 3 months ago. So
Yeah, because
maybe
the
you tell
list, because of the turnover in
them.
the list. What
Mhm,
about
mhm,
so obviously we went from, oh, why should we email them? They don't want to hear us to, we email a lot now. Um,
mhm,
what do you how do you, because I know I write our PLR email list daily, but I mean, we have a flow and we know what we're doing.
mhm,
But
mhm.
how do you in your other spaces determine like what to write about? Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Do you have a percentage of promotion versus?
Yeah. So you know, I'm a very linear person. Like I have to have order. I have checklists. I have my planner with my to-do list. So that's just me. Tracy is more the
I'm a
artisty.
pantser.
Yes, yes. So Tracy is totally fine, and I can do it, but it kind of hurts my heart a little bit. Tracy's totally fine to just sit in front of a blank email and go, okay, well, what am I going to share with them? And then she just starts throwing stuff in it, and it's all beautiful and it makes sense. For me, I work best from a template. And again, you know, in so much of this online business thing, there's no right and wrong way. There's what works for you. So for me, what works well is to have some sort of structure. If I have the structure, then I don't sit here agonizing about what to do. And a lot of times, just starting is the hardest part for me. So if I have this template where I know, okay, I just have to plug this in and this in and this in, it helps me. It was also super helpful when my daughter was little and we were running back and forth all over the place, because sometimes I only had 2 or 3 minutes to work on something. But I could fill out one little section in that template, hit save, and then go play Legos or go run with her to the library or respond to the screaming in the kitchen or whatever happened, you know. Um, so I like to have some structure. So in my author business, fiction author business, the way that looks is I have a weekly email going out that has a little bit of an introduction. That's kind of where I tell them about my day, my week, my life, something that inspired me. You know, I try to tie it into the stories. And I usually tell them about either the book I'm currently writing on, if it's close to publishing, or one of the books in my backlist, one of the books I've already written. So I rotate through those. And then I share some other book recommendations with them, because my readers, most of them are voracious readers, and they will always read way more than I could ever try to write if I wanted to write full time. You know, this is just a little side gig for me. So I share other authors' book recommendations with them. And that's kind of nice because those authors return the favor and share my books in their newsletters. And then, you know, I usually close it up with some sort of little word of encouragement and a PS. And, you know, sometimes I tell them um, something about what I've been working on, or, you know, I have a author YouTube channel. Maybe I share something about that, something fun and new and exciting that's coming up, or like a collaboration I'm in, anything like that. But by having these blocks, you know, if I don't have a lot of mental bandwidth while I'm watching TV at night, I can fill in the book recommendations because I know what that's going to be for any given week. Or I can jot down a couple of notes for myself, what I might want to talk about in the introduction. So a lot of it is kind of like, go ahead.
So you're sending out a weekly newsletter for your
I send
for
out
your
a
books.
weekly newsletter there.
So
I just don't have enough to say, and I
right.
don't think there's a need in that particular
Mhm.
business to go
Right. So that's
more
just like
than that.
that's one model. So like what we do with PLR, and I
Mhm.
do now, I mean, now that you say it is kind of templatized where I've got sections. Um,
Mhm.
because we promote our new release PLR, we promote other people's new release PLR, and then we also include like a business recommendation because we're all business owners using PLR to support our businesses.
Mhm.
Um, and so I have sections built out. What what I do on a daily basis is figure out what I'm going to put in those sections built around what our
Yeah.
personal products are. Um, but there are times when I don't send any recommendations. It's just kind of usually I try to include like maybe a free thing, but sometimes it's just I found this on the internet kind of thing, or here's a personal story, just to kind of so I there's I'm sure there's like a formula. Maybe it's like 80-10-10, so like what we do for the PLR business, where it's 80%
Yeah.
promotion, 10% personal and 10% informational kind of thing. Um, so basically you can set up your emails
And
however
you
you
can mix it
like.
up too, because
Right.
there will be time when I have a new book coming out or when we have a big new product where it makes sense to do a solo email where that email's sole purpose is to sell what you got to offer. You don't want to send those every single email, buy, unless you're like Amazon or there's some other random shopping sites whose email list I'm on, and it's basically just, okay, we thought you might want to buy this today. But for the most part, it's in your day-to-day, week-to-week emails, it's going to be a combination of either give them some helpful content, information, or entertain them. And then you can combine work and offer in there as well. Sort of like I look at that as a soft sell. And then it's totally fine too. And we do this from time to time, not as much as we used to because we have so much stuff to offer. But we used to, from time to time, have just educational or just informal, entertaining, relationship building emails that we sprinkled into the mix. And I think you sent one of those. Was it yesterday, day before yesterday?
Oh, when my sister had her car
Just like,
accident and her
hey,
son died.
yeah, just touching base. And there wasn't a single clickable link in there. There's nothing to buy, and that's
There,
fine
there,
too. And we
there
do
was a
it.
link.
That one. Oh, okay, that one was shows you how much attention I'm paying. And that one was situation based. But we've also done it. From time to time. I know around Thanksgiving and Christmas, we do a couple of those where it's like, hey, we just wanted to tell you how much we appreciate you.
Mhm.
Or, hey, today, nothing to buy here, but we thought you might really enjoy this video or this blog post kind of thing. So that's totally fine to do too.
So that we've touched on like um, building from the beginning, when to mail and kind of what to mail, but how do we find the people to mail to? I mean, where did I know we started off with our existing list and said, hey, we're going to go on this ride. Do you want to come with us?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So yeah, that's an advantage, once you start to build an audience. But in the very beginning, I'm trying to think back on my online marketing type stuff. And even before I had like a children's website, I think it was just um, creating a lead magnet, like some sort of freebie offer. Or I think in the very beginning, all I had was a little box on my website that said, sign up for my newsletter. But it definitely worked a lot better if I had something to give away with them, give away to them. Today, it's so much easier because you can start to tap into places where your target audience is hanging out already with social media, because you can find them. Before that, it was a lot of, build the website, kind of do what you could with SEO, search engine optimization, trying to get some traffic there. And then, like everything else in this business, a lot of it is, building those relationships. So finding other people who are already connected to the people you want to serve, and seeing what you can do. Can you write a guest blog post for them? Can you go on their podcast? Can they share about you through their social media channels? Again, like I was talking about with the newsletter, in the author business, when I first started out, I think I had like maybe 20 people on my mailing list, and I can't remember how I even got them. But that's when some very generous other authors offered to mail about my book. And at that point, I was given away a short novella as a freebie to get people on the list. Because one big advantage of coming from this internet marketing space into the author thing is I knew how important it was to build that email list.
Right.
So, and that was just, being in online communities, talking to other writers, asking for advice. And this isn't just true for writers, it's true for marketers, for online business owners, for offline business owners, pretty much any space you're in. If you can find other people who are doing what they're doing and just go to them with an open mind, respect, and a question, you hardly ever have I come across somebody who wasn't willing to help me in one way or another. Not always in the way I expected, in the beginning, being young and green. I'm like, oh, hey, you have a 25,000 list. And I think this little dinky ebook I put together with a couple of play ideas for outside, they're just going to eat that up and love it. And they're like, yeah, no. But, here's what you can do. Or,
but that's another good point, is when you do approach someone with, like a win-win, we always try to approach from, here's what I can do for you, or hey, we promoted your thing, it went over really well. We always try to reach out and do the thing first, rather than expect someone to know who we are and what we do. And I think that's another point, is I have been in rooms at conferences, on calls with other people, where I have no idea who they are, but they're like super duper experts in their field, kind of thing. And so it's always best practice to treat people like they're the smartest people in the room, kind of. Do you know what I'm saying? Rather than coming from a point of, hey, we have this and here's how we can help you, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I'm saying this all wrong. I know I am.
No, I think you're kind of explaining two scenarios here. Number one is, your worth, kind of thing. You've built, like in our position now, we've been at this for so long, we've built a successful business. For a lot of people, it's easy to become a little arrogant at that point, and kind of, and it's nice to walk into a conference and be like, I'm the big person in the room, kind of thing here. So I see where that's tempting, but coming from a place of humility, and from a place of, what can I do for you, instead of, what can you do for me? That's going to serve you whether you're a bigwig or somebody small and upcoming. I think, if you're small, it's easy. And I don't know if jealousy is the right kind of word, but that's a lot of times how I felt. Like, I want that success. I want it now. I wish I was where they were at right now. And it's kind of like, well, since you have all this success and you know how to do this, why don't you help little old me, kind of thing. And that's, that gets old really quick, because they don't hear that just from you. They hear that from everybody else that approaches them. I know it happens to us. So if somebody comes from, hey, and it can be something super simple, like we've had people approach us with, hey, I really love what you're doing. I noticed there's a couple of spelling errors, because everything I write has spelling errors in it. On your sales page, I thought you might want to fix that. Or, hey, this link doesn't work. Thought you might want to know. And then, we're always super grateful for that kind of thing. And then they're like, well, do you mind if I ask you a question? When you approach it in that way, it's like, yeah, of course we're going to answer your question. Of course we're going to see if we can help you out, kind of thing. So kind of see, and no matter where you're at, there's always something you can do for them. If you try, think outside of the box a little bit. And maybe it's just like, hey, as a fan of this, or as a consumer of this, here's some feedback of how this works or doesn't work for me. Or you can send them a testimonial if it's something of theirs that you use, kind of thing. Or even if it's just, hey, I shared your stuff on my social media page or something. That if you go in from, number one, know exactly what they are, what they do, and coming to the table with something you did for them, that kind of opens some doors for you that otherwise wouldn't be open. Which I think we're going way off track of
I
this
know
building
that's,
and
I was just thinking,
marketing here,
but that ties into affiliates. So I was going to say, yeah, I guess I got us off track, but that ties into when you want someone to promote your stuff as as well. So that's kind of being an affiliate for someone, or asking
and
someone to be your affiliate.
yeah. And to bring back to list building, being an affiliate and having affiliates is a great way to build your list. That is one of the reasons why, before we even put our first pay pack out, or the very next day, we put out a freebie pack, because in Piggy Makes Bank and the PLR side of it, that is how we build the list. We give away a little free PLR pack. So you could do the same with like a free little mini course, or an ebook, or your regular lead magnet type thing. But if you have something free and paid, and you have an affiliate program set up, make sure you add the free product to the affiliate backend, where affiliates can promote your freebie. Because if it's a good thing, if it's a quality thing and something they think their audience will enjoy, they will promote the heck out of it. It's it builds goodwill with their list, when they can go, oh, hey, I know you guys are interested in self-improvement and productivity stuff. I found this cool 7 days to improve your sleep PLR that I think will be perfect for your audience, kind of thing. You can grab it here. They're building goodwill with their audience. Their readers, if it's a good fit, will enjoy it, and stay on the list and open the emails and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And as an affiliate, it's nice to do it, because then hopefully that same person, once they're on the Piggy Makes Bank list, they will buy something else, and then as an affiliate, I get that commission. So that kind of works for everybody involved. The affiliate has something cool to email about, plus can make some money, and our seller or the online marketing person, it helps us grow the list overall.
So in the last couple minutes that we have, what would you say are the top three things that you should always do when you're building your list?
Start from day one to build your list. Email regularly, and like we talked about, depending on your business model, that can be every week. I don't think I would go past 2 weeks because then people start to forget because everybody has such busy inboxes. You don't want them to forget about you, and you don't have to have anything profound to say every single week. Just get in the habit. If you do want to email more frequently, or let's say you're only emailing once a month right now, you want to ramp it up slowly. Take your time, or give them a really good reason of why you're all of a sudden showing up in their inbox more frequently. And the way we ramped it up in one of our previous businesses is we did a challenge where we were like, okay, for every day this month, we're going to cook something in the slow cooker. And that gave us the excuse to email them every single day and get them engaged and get them actually looking forward to the emails. And I know we've talked about that in other videos and podcasts and that kind of stuff. But so that would be number 2, do it regularly. And number 3 would be to just always make getting them on your list the priority. So, it's nice to have a big Facebook group, or, back in the day when Facebook pages were first a thing, it was nice to have a lot of people and a lot of engagement there. And then one little algorithm shift, and all of a sudden nobody saw your posts on your pages anymore, and they thought, I've had people who are, oh, we thought you were no longer doing this cooking blog thing. So always get them on your list first, because no matter what happens with another platform, even if you're like selling something on Amazon or that kind of thing, that can be shut off. But if you have your list, you have some way of reaching them and a way to rebuild if something were to happen. So I think that those would be my top 3. How about yours?
No, I think you're right. I mean, starting from day one, making sure that you're emailing on some sort of schedule, however that might be. Um, from day one, schedule, and yeah, bringing them home, right? So you always want them, even if you're engaging with them out there, always give them a way to come home to your list. Because if Facebook decided to ban you and YouTube says you can't play here anymore, and Instagram shuts down, you've got them on your list, and you can continue to build your business that way. So that's our time. Any last words of wisdom before we close for the pool guys here? Bugs are crazy. So I'll let you. I'm going to mute and then give you last minute.
I can't really think of anything else.